So, with all of this on your plate and so much going on, how and why did you start Memory Flame Candles?
It's a great question, Doug. And sometimes I ask myself that every time I have a new project. We have some other new projects coming, and I'm just like,
Ooh,
what am I doing? But it's all worth it and it's all fun. So Memory Flame Candle Company. So I started because of Olive, who is our 2.5-year-old dog that we had to say goodbye to. And I was absolutely gutted because Olive's story was very sad. She was found in a pile of garbage, like literally a pile of garbage, as a 3-week-old puppy. And she eventually came to us, and we did everything we could. But she was, I think she was probably a genetic mess. And also, she had a horrible start in life, which, has its own effects. But she had medical issues. I mean, from day one that we got her, she had medical issues. And then as she got older, so she was a pitty. Let's see if I got a picture of her. Oh yeah, here she is. She's always close to me. So this is Miss Olive.
oh, look at that smile.
I know, the best. I love pitties so much.
Oh,
My cute little Olive. But she as dogs hit social maturity, their behaviors start to change a little bit and they become more of who they're going to be. And when she started to hit kind of close to 2, we started seeing a lot of kind of problematic things with our other dogs in the house. But also, she was like paranoid. Like by the end, she couldn't even go and do the things that she loved to do because she was too paranoid about them. It was very, very sad, on top of having all these medical issues. And so we made the really heart-wrenching decision to say goodbye. And it was terrible. I mean, she was like my project in a way, right? Like our whole life was like revolving around keeping Olive happy and giving Olive a really good life. And then now that was gone. And, the thing people don't talk about with behavioral euthanasia a lot is that there's a lot of relief that can come with that, because a lot of that, like the challenge and the stress that is in your house, is no longer there. But at the same time, you're left with like this huge hole in your heart. And I was really, really struggling with my grief and trying to figure out how to move on in life without her here with us. And so I was like searching the internet and I was like, what do I do? And I came upon lighting remembrance candles. And at first, I'll be honest, like truth moment, at first I was like, this sounds like a hokey pile of poo. And like, there's no way this is going to actually make me feel better, because like my dog is dead and I can't, like, why is lighting a candle going to make me feel better? Well, short story is, it did. And I started feeling just a lot of like, every time I was sad, I would light my candle, or every time I was missing her, I would light my candle. And I just had a lot of peace and comfort that came from that. And I felt like I was actually doing something with my grief, and it helped me move through my grief a lot faster. So instead of just pretending like it didn't happen or ignoring it or not feeling those feelings, like it gave me a moment to do that. I could pause in my day, remember her, remember some of the good times, light my candle, and it really helped me work through that. And I started giving them to our clients when our clients had a pet that passed away. And I'd give it to like my mom is one of my biggest customers, because she has friends who are, have a spouse who passed away or a family member who passed away. And I was like, I could make this into an actual business. Like this could actually help other people other than just my small little circle. And so Memory Flame Candles was born. And it's been really impactful. And the thing that I love the most about it is, at first when I started the candle business, I thought that most people be buying them for themselves. Like, I lost a pet, I'm going to buy myself a candle. But what it turned into is that almost every candle is bought for somebody else. And it's given as a gift. So whether it's, your friend is going through a hard time, or your clients, we have a lot of pet sitters, again, we're in the pet sitting world. So we have a lot of pet sitters who are giving our candles to their clients. And it's been really impactful to hear what their clients are saying to them. And then they pass those things back on to us. Or my mom sends me, I'm a card like keeper. So like my mom, if she gets a thank you card from somebody that she's given a candle to, she sends it on to me so I can see, how much those things mean to people. And I think one of the hardest things about grief is that nobody wants to talk about it because it's really uncomfortable. And on my little memory flame journey here, I'm finding that it's important to give space for those conversations. People don't like to talk about behavioral euthanasia because there's a lot of shame associated with it. Like people feel like, oh, I should have tried harder, or there was something else I could have done, or, if only I decided to live like a hermit and all of my dogs have their own space and nobody ever interacts. Like if I had just done that, everything would have been fine. But again, there's a lot of shame with that. And so people don't talk about it. And so I try to help create space to talk about it. And I feel like grief of anything is kind of the same way because, people will think of you in the first couple days or the first couple weeks, and then your grief continues on, but everyone else has kind of moved on with their life because we can't all be sad for everybody all of the time, right? And so just really helping people understand that it's okay to be sad, and most people grieve a close loss for like 9 to 18 months. So it's okay if 6 months later you're still really sad. Like it's okay. And just helping people understand like it's okay to check in on other people, because just because they're not talking about their loss doesn't mean that they're not still feeling their loss.
Yeah, yeah. And, we've ordered several memory flame candles for our clients now. And over the years, we've tried different little gifts, cards, and flowers, and different things. And they were all good. But, I had never gotten a call from a client actually in tears. And one of the last pups that you sent a candle to, one of our clients, he called us just absolutely beside himself. He couldn't even collect himself, and I want to cry just thinking
I'm
about it,
gonna cry
and
thinking about it too.
it's like, but it shows just how powerful and how meaningful what you're doing is,
Mhm.
and who would have thought that a candle could be that meaningful? But I think
Mhm.
what you're doing is beautiful. I mean, it's inspiring, and you're so right that grief does stick with you, and it is okay to feel that grief later on, and having this candle that you can light, when you're feeling that grief and you're thinking about your pet, it's a physical, beautiful representation of that love and everything involved. And so,
Mhm.
I mean, just thank you for starting Memory Flame. I know you have a lot on your plate, and I know it's probably a little stressful to try to run a candle company on top of all of your other stuff, but thank
Mhm.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I say it's very bittersweet. Like I'm so thankful that we can help, but it's also so sad because every time you send a candle, you know that somebody's really hurting. And let's see if I have one. Oh, here's my it has just like our standard label on it. But what we can also do is put a custom name. So we print our own labels as well and put a custom name on it. So when a client, you can put like the client's pet on there, or and we do it for pets and people. So all of our language is around a loved one because we recognize that a loved one could be anyone. We've had people send a candle to like their friend who had a miscarriage, right? Like that's a lot of like those things can be unvalidated loss. Like it's not something that gets talked about a lot or gets recognized as being really impactful. And so we just use very, kind of broad language. It's very universal language. And so they work for a lot of occasions, but there is something to be said when I walk into my own clients' houses and I see a candle that we sent them, like on the mantle or next to a picture of their pet. It does tell you that it's meant something, and we had a local groomer who said, gosh, I normally send flowers, but flowers only last a few days, and I can send this candle and it's going to sit there forever. And I think, also from like the business owner standpoint, your client's going to remember you and remember that like how much, like there's a physical representation of how much you care about them and how much you cared about their pet, and it's going to sit there on their shelf. And when they look at it, like obviously they're going to think about their pets, but they're also going to think about how much you cared about them. And I think that's really important when we think about as being a professional industry. I think it can be hard sometimes to show our clients how much they mean to us, and that's both the people and the pets. And it can be really hard to really kind of verbalize that or to show that. And so when you send something like a candle, or it could be anything. It could be a well-written card to say, gosh, your pet meant so much to us. I'm going to miss this about her, and we're thinking of you. Even that alone can just really help people, but there is something kind of special about the candles.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, in everything that you're doing with Lucky Pup and with Memory Flame just shows in your award for 2022 Pet Sitter of the Year.